Hello, this is Mary Lawrence Bevington, Mary B. Tina Fey once said never to go live, and for that reason, I seldom go live. Not that reason only, but I thought I would go live today because, according to my calculations, we're just past the exact point of this total solar eclipse, the only solar eclipse of this year, 2020. So today's December 14th, and there's all kinds of information on the internet, so I'll just be repeating what is quite findable and helping you perhaps sort through some of what's out there. So my main thoughts on this today are that this time period of the eclipse being a fairly long time period, it's 3 hours and change from end to end. The eclipse itself started over the ocean, and it moves over Chile and Argentina. So most people on the globe are probably not seeing it unless they're seeing it through a live stream, and maybe some people in South America or on a boat on the ocean or in an airplane are seeing it. And as you may know, the eclipse happens because the moon comes in between the Earth and the sun. Our moon is about 1.8 days past its perigee, so the closest point on its orbit, meaning the moon's really close to the Earth right now. And from an energetic perspective, the moon tends to represent feminine energy, the womb. It's even theorized by Earth scientists that the moon was in fact even born of the Earth. A bunch of debris from the Earth went out and formed the moon. More to say there, but I'll leave it at that. And this eclipse itself is also in the zodiac sign Sagittarius, on the ecliptic of the zodiac, and it's at 23 degrees in a few minutes, I think 0.06 minutes. So it's pretty far into that sign, and Sagittarius has the essence of fire. I've heard it described as an ember of burning fire. It's sort of like old fire, philosophical and deep and quite magnificent, Sagittarius. Of course, the sun is masculine energy, and any total solar eclipse is pretty darn incredible. Same with the lunar one. We had a penumbral lunar eclipse partial earlier in the month, and I believe that was on the 2nd of December. So we're in this kind of the last of the eclipses, pardon me, for this eclipse season for this year, about 6 of them altogether. Usually there's about 4 in a year, so 6 is kind of a lot. And and so I'll tell you why I'm laughing later. And so the next thing I'll say about this whole dealy bob is that that teaching about it being potent and sort of a threshold, really kind of like a birthday is, for the next 3 years and change, that time of eclipse from end to end, is also buoyed up by this energy that is in our field right now that for me feels like the dawning of the age of Aquarius. If you talk to any of the astrologers out there, they're like, oh, this period, it's highly unusual. We are moving through the birth canal. We are in this amazing period where all these things are happening that don't happen very often. You know, the last time this happened was 1633. The last time this happened was 432 Common Era, Anno Domini, however you want to characterize the time that we're in now. So again, lots of stuff happening. Also, the ley line scientists out there, the people that measure a lot of the magnetism of the Earth and the pulsation of the Earth. So there's a Schumann resonance scale, for example. There's dowsers who use different instruments. A more kind of old-timey style is to use a copper rod to have a sense of what's happening underneath the Earth, and you can gauge it by how the copper rod behaves as you walk. It'll actually turn. I've done a little bit of dowsing myself. It's pretty neat. But there's one gentleman in particular, Rory Duff, and he's been measuring, and he's sort of like, okay, we are in a 12,000 year cycle, and it's due to, as he describes it, this is my massive simplification of his words, in paraphrase, that we have a cosmic pulsation coming into our world. And we've actually had these waves before, and this one that we're in right now as I speak is allegedly one of the strongest ones, and it began December 9th. These are kind of big events, so they take some time. It peaks December 20th. Our solstice is also December 20th. 21st, actually, I believe, is the exact point of the solstice. And I actually don't really even know how they measure that, but we'll look that up. Google it, Bing it. Okay, Brave it. All those search engines will tell you how to find it. Go look up the encyclopedia, might even tell you. A couple other notes about the astrology. So you've probably been following, again, highly unusual events. So the 17th of this month, December, we have Saturn, I believe it's Saturn, yeah, it goes first. It moves into the sign of Aquarius from Capricorn. 19th, Jupiter moves into Aquarius from Capricorn. I'm pretty sure I have those dates right. I might have switched them, but at any rate, if you even look up, I'm in the United States, if you look up at the sunset to the west, southwest, you might see them up in the sky on a clear night. I'm in New Mexico right now, and as I was making my way down here by car, I could fully see them up in the sky. Totally beautiful. Jupiter's really bright. You know, Jupiter's a failed star. It actually, if it had been just a little bigger, it could have been a sun. Pretty cool, huh? It has 4 moons with a high magnetism binoculars, or a telescope. You can actually see the moons of Jupiter. And then Saturn, you'll see it kind of, it's more of like a little pinpoint. And you can even, again, with high magnetism, like 8, 9 times magnetism binos or good telescopes, sometimes you can see the little ears, the Saturn rings. This is all also, again, being live streamed, so use the World Wide Web. You can see on some of the live stream, they're going to start to film, especially as these planets get closer and closer, because there is, as many of you are probably turned on to at this point, the Great Conjunction happening on the solstice itself, the 21st. And that's referring to the alignment of Saturn and Jupiter. They're kind of like basically right with each other, and not in actual side by side, because they're still quite a distance apart, kind of in their own lanes, their orbits going around the sun, but they are lined up, and they actually have also a declination lined up, so they're kind of on top of each other too, spatially, in 2 major spatial planes aligned. And what it will look like to our eyes is this beautiful star. Depending on your perspective of what holiday you might be celebrating this time of year, you know, Navratri, I think, just ended. There's, of course, Kwanzaa coming up, Hanukkah we're in the midst of. There's Yuletide, Christmas Day. There's the solstice itself, and the 12 nights that move after the solstice, moving up to the Epiphany in January, the Magi Day, the 6th of January, where the light comes back, because our naked eyes can really tell that the light's coming back. So, hey, I've got one viewer. Woohoo! Hi, Christina. So, at any rate, I'm just laughing. I have one person in the audience. All good. It's worthy. One person. It's beautiful, especially Christina. She's a lovely mommy of 3. Just had a new baby. And Christina, you probably missed it, but I was just talking about this time of year, and as we're moving through and towards this great conjunction, it will look like this big star in the sky. So who's to say, if you do also look backwards at some of these trends, like, what was happening when these planets moved into Aquarius so long ago, 400 plus AD, they're writing some more of the Gospels. If you look at the year 1633, when another aspect of this happened, we're, in that Elizabethan, Shakespearean era. There's also an event more in the 1400s, beginning of the Renaissance. So again, there's all of these signs and symbols that are really showing, hey, there is something that's happening. We're at a threshold here. And one of the fun things about this eclipse today, that we're kind of now in the denouement of the eclipse, but we still have, according to my calculations, maybe an hour left of its full arc of the eclipse. We also, in any eclipse, solar style, the moon is actually blocking out the sun. So you have right there, while it's a conjunction of moon and sun, you also have the masculine energy is actually getting overshadowed by the feminine energy, solar moon. So with these planets that we've had in the sign of Capricorn for some time now, Pluto is still there and will be there till 2024. We have this strong, masculine energy essentially interpreted as getting deconstructed by these powerful planets such as Pluto, the deconstructor. It's kind of like the death planet. It's like Netherlands, Hades, Pluto, and as he's sticking around there, but then we've got Jupiter and Saturn moving out. Jupiter is, the daddy, the expansive, money. He's quite fun, actually, really quite powerful. If you met Pluto Jupiter at a party, he'd be that charming one who goes and gets you a drink and tells you a funny story and pays for your cab home. He's kind of that guy. And then you've got Saturn, who's a little bit more like the strict dad, the cop, the authority. I like Saturn, actually. He's pretty prominent in my chart. I like the structure of him, because if I didn't have that structure, I would be a little like all over the place. I wouldn't have enough rules, for example, guidelines. So at any rate, I was certainly compelled to come on today, because I find this event, while today it might feel rather wonky. Typically, eclipses will stimulate an aspect of primordial fear for us sometimes, because let's just pretend we're back in Neanderthal days. We see an eclipse and we're like, holy Hannah, the sun is getting blocked out. Our lifeblood, our primal symbol, as Carl Jung discovered when he looked at all the symbols throughout the planet originally. We might be really scared that we're going to die. We're not going to be able to grow our food. We're not going to be able to hunt and gather for food, etc. Our babies aren't going to suffer. Our species is going to go extinct. All that fun stuff that might come up for us, and epigenetically even move through our genotype and phenotype on some level throughout our ancestral history and makeup. So we might feel a little funny today while this is still going on, but we have this amazing ability, because our minds have memory and things like that. We're a little bit like supercomputers. We can get time. Our species has this kind of interesting gift that way, we actually can forecast what we hope for this coming time of 3 years and change. So up to 2024, that'd be when Pluto starts to move into Aquarius as well. So we can design and craft our life in that sense, and also have this promise, like the rising sun, that we have these events coming up really soon. So today's the 14th. By the 17th, that's 3 days, not even, away. We've got Saturn moving, we've got Jupiter moving on the 19th. Then we've got this beautiful, great conjunction that we can already start to see now, and we'll still be able to see it even after the 21st, prominently till the 23rd, of this beautiful star and Jupiter and Saturn being together. And then we move it towards January on the 6th of January, that Feast of the Epiphany Day, the Magi Day, the 12th night. We have this sweet, sweet event of Mars moving into Taurus, which is going to just feel great. Little one side note, there's so much to say, I'm just editing out, but I will add one little thing. There is still a lot of tension in our solar system for other relationships with some of these warring planets and asteroids like Mars and Eris, but then also these kind of revolutionary ones like Black Moon Lilith and Uranus, and they're kind of stirring things up a little bit. So not going to go into technical stuff. Again, please do your own research in your ephemerises or your meditation minds or what have you, but lots to say. So as we also move into this January 6th, and Mars goes more into Taurus, so out of its Aries placement, which is kind of like drive, hero, heroine energy, but it's also in its shadow state, war, and it's set in its war home, which is Aries, so Mars and Aries, but then it changes Mars and Taurus. And Taurus, actually personally have in my constitution a lot of that fire and earth, so a lot of the Aries and Taurus, but Taurus is the more kind of give yourself a breath, let's chill out, let's be at home, let's make a beautiful space in our home, let's flow some money into the world, let's be strong, kind of like strong joints. I actually have a really Tauran body. I have like really strong knit joints in my body. That kind of thing. So Mars in Taurus is on the 6th of January is probably going to feel really sweet, especially with the light coming back, because your eyes again will be able to tell, hey, this light is coming back. This is sweet, because right now we're like, oh man, the days are getting shorter and shorter. And for some of us, there's a perception of lack, like, whoa, I'm not sure I'm totally into this whole nocturnal thing. Like I'm a diurnal cat. I want this light back. I want more hours in my day. Of course, then again, the dark is nice. It's yin. It's relaxing. It's cozy, and it is well worth noting that we have been relaxed and cozy and freaked out a little bit since the lockdowns and lockdown lights started happening in Italy in March and states shortly thereafter, etc. So, and really globally too, as it's gone through the stages of what we got going. Let's see, I'm just reading what Christina's nice. I'm all about the darkness. Yeah, I get that completely. There are so many nocturnal cats literally out there. It's funny, the town I'm in, Las Vegas, New Mexico, has all these feral cats that everybody in the town kind of looks after. It's sort of sweet. But yeah, there is something fantastic about the darkness and also the shadow, and learning that depth in ourselves and what we might want to work with in terms of that depth, and how the darkness actually helps us see the light. I'm an illustrator, and when you make a picture, when I make a picture where I'm actually trying to show light, I actually let myself deepen into the dark, because more the dark in the picture is going to actually illuminate the light more. So yeah, we need both. And right now, maybe some of us are feeling perhaps what might feel like a little bit of an overload of dark, or maybe an overload of light. I don't know. I don't want to presuppose anything. And everyone's a little different. That's how we are infinitely part of this world here. So yeah, and then the last little thing I want to add in, again, kind of going towards forecast. Everything's in present time because we have this moment right now, but forecasting, so you can make a plan as you're setting your energy still in this eclipse energy, moving out into the world. Forecasting, I would just say that we have also this event that hits Inauguration Day where things could actually get a little dark again. So just watch out for that. That time period, you may actually want to stay a little cozy. I'd say express, drop into your agency, be who you are. But I'd also have your sixth sense at alert, because there's definitely some signs of potential tension around Inauguration Day, the 20th of 2021. And it's heated too, just in the most cognitive sense. I mean, it's Inauguration Day. We've had a contested, heated, crazy election season this year. And I'm personally a fan of a totally new movement and administration. And I think we're really seeing that, actually, especially with all the female appointees. I am a feminist, I will say that for the record. And I believe that men and women and transgender, the full spectrum of gender, I believe that all of us can do good. But I also think that there is something about lifting up the agency of the folks, anyone who's ever been disenfranchised. I'm actually reading the book Caste right now by Isabel Wilkerson. Such a brilliant book. And I read her other book, The Warmth of Other Suns. That's about the Great Migration. Her book about caste is about the different levels of people in society and how we've created situations where there's people who are disenfranchised and literally cast into essential roles that are become rigid sometimes and horrific sometimes. One of her great examples in that book that's ongoing throughout the book is Nazi Germany and what happened there. And again, not to go totally dark in this little broadcast right here, but I do feel like this is a time where we can teach ourselves, we can learn more about what's come before. And this is one of the reasons why I love the encyclopedic knowledge of astrology, because it teaches us, well, okay, what happened the last time Jupiter and Saturn were close to each other, which was only 20 years ago. They do it every 20 years. But then what happened the last time they were in Capricorn? Oh, that's a few centuries ago. Okay, so you can actually sort of look at these things. What happened the last time Uranus was in Taurus? And that's kind of World War II type energy. So again, you can plot these points throughout time immemorial and then look also at present time, and then even have suggestions about what may be around the bend, again, so you can plan. I love present time, but I'm a big planner, because I feel like we can truly be the architects of our lives in that sense. Okay, last thing I'll say is we have this sweet other thing that's happening, something to just get excited about. It's a sweet time of year no matter what. vernal equinox time. Lots of babies are born in the vernal equinox. Lots of animal life is born, the creepy crawlies. It's just a time of the roots and the shoots. They push through the soil, and daffodils come up, and depending on where you are, all kinds of other plants. And yeah, and it's equal day, equal night. So I actually don't know what the ley line scientists are saying about this. The astrology around it's beautiful, which I'm not going to detail. Just know it's coming. So something for you to kind of sit with, or feel free to go into your own research patterns with it. But I do feel like we may have more of this understanding with this huge pulsation of light that's coming in. And while this is perhaps for some of you an unpopular opinion, I'm not totally sure where people stand on this. I just have been doing my own research internally in meditation. But I do feel like there's something so benevolent about all of the monoliths that are happening. And I'm saying all of them. There's a lot of them. There's sacred spots that are showing up. There's energy spots, acupressure, acupuncture points on our earth, vortexes that are getting stronger, ley lines widening. So again, with this pulsation of light, this kind of like photon plasma pulse that's coming into our world now, I think that we can feel that on the little, on the large, on the micro, on the macro, where it's entering us and how we may be experiencing this time of light, and how perhaps that sheds a little bit of light on who we are and what our dharma is, our truth, where we find our flow states, where we shine, what we are famous for. And really, as Mary Oliver so famously wrote in one of her poems, we may find our place in the family of things. As David White would say, everything is waiting for us. So maybe that is even something you've been afraid perhaps to bring forth. You've hesitated, you've thought, oh, I can't make enough money doing that, I can't make the world really see me, everybody's doing that, or whatever your lines are that you talk yourself out of, or, oh, my business is little, how could I ever compete with all the big ones, or maybe I need to do what I was programmed to do, what my degrees, what my family taught me to do. But actually what I'd really like to do is this. So this would be the time to find that flow state and kind of step into your dharma. And I for a living, you probably know this because you're on my business website, or whatever it's called, my Facebook page. For a living, I help people course correct. And one of my go-tos with all of that is a fantastic book by Stephen Cope called The Great Work of Your Life. And in that book, he takes the Bhagavad Gita, the holy text, which is part of a bigger text from India. It's quite ancient. And he takes the principles that are taught in that text, and then he looks at people's lives who essentially, as he perceives it, were really in step with their truth. They were in their dharma. And he even identifies things such as flow state, and that it's that sense of, oh, time could just go by. I'm a writer. If I'm into something I write, so much time could go by. Oh, there goes the morning, and I've written something, and that's how I know that's an aspect of my dharma. And there's other parts to it, but the flow state is one that really stuck out to me. And so he looks at people like Harriet Tubman, for example, who completely committed to a vision, enacted it, freed many slaves, including herself. Somebody like Walt Whitman, who really found himself a little bit later in his life. He walked around during the Civil War, and he basically visited hospitals, and he talked to wounded soldiers, and he started writing more and more, and some of his best poetry came out during that time. So at any rate, more to say, but maybe this is that time for you where you really tap in. Okay, what's my truth? Am I an actor? Am I a dancer? Am I a banker? Am I a builder? Am I a friend? Am I a janitor? But man, I clean these spaces right. Like, this is my thing. One side note there is I actually used to clean houses for a short time in my life. I didn't do that job for very long, but I loved it. There was something about it that was so cool for me. I felt like I could shift the energy and create beauty in people's houses. So again, do what you got to do. It's your dharma, your choice, your agency. And I'm going to sign off because I'm actually in a hotel, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to check out. Not check out, but check out. Okay, I hope you're doing well, my audience of one. Beautiful Christina, mama of three. Give a shout out to Christina Coates. Woohoo! Satnam Chandra Coates. She has a spiritual name too. Okay, lovelies. I'm just going to assume some of you might watch this later. Or maybe just Christina. Have a great day and happy eclipse. Mary B signing off.